Hey there, and welcome back to another Paladin Security Tools segment. Now, this time I'm actually not going to focus on a specific tool inside of Kali Linux, but actually just going to talk a little bit about how to use Google to accomplish some similar things that we did previously with Fierce. So the idea here that I found this useful in anyway is I'm doing a penetration test of an organization, and I'm looking for websites that they have somehow are tied to the client that they're hosting or whatnot. And a lot of times security groups won't know all of the different websites that their organization has published in various places. And so it can be kind of useful to go through this, if nothing else, to provide information to the security team about some of the things that you found. So what do I like to do for this type of enumeration? I should just like to use my browser. Now I could automate this and write this out with a script to scrape these results from Google, but that's a good way to get yourself your IP banned for a little bit, and not something that I enjoy doing, and definitely would be a bad move if you were doing this from inside your organization and got your company banned from using Google for a little while. So let's say, for example, and we'll go ahead and we'll pick on Google here as our example company. But let's say that we're doing a penetration test and we're looking for sites, just websites, that are hosted under google.com. Now with Fierce, it's going to pull up anything that's in DNS that it's brute forces or stumbles across. In this case, what we're going to use is Google's search engine to display to us or let us know what all of the different websites or domains that they found that are hosted out there. But this is going to be website specific. So to do this, you just go to your browser, site : and then your target domain. We're going to use google.com. They've got a ton of different domains out there. And we start to look at our search results. Now, obviously, the first thing you're probably going to see in most search results is www. Well, that's nice. So we'll just do a minus sign and then www. Hit enter again. Okay, and now we've got more result. We've got plus.google.com, families.google.com, made by google.com. So let's go ahead and we'll do minus plus, minus made by, and minus families. Now we've got assistant, so we'll do minus assistant. All right, developers and open source and code. So let's go ahead and do minus developers, minus open source, minus code, hit enter again. Now we're starting to see over here in our search results that we're not getting a subdomain, everything. We're starting to just get displayed google.com. But that's fine. We just keep drilling down or looking down the list line here rather. And we say, okay, we've got minus sites, or excuse me, sites. So we'll do a minus search for minus sites. Okay, now this was a site that I had never heard of before, which was fusiontables.google.com. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Oops, minus Fusion Tables. And you just keep drilling down. So we'll do cloud. Go back up here and do minus cloud. You got docs and trends and groups. And you see this just kind of keeps going. And the end result, I'll come up here and pull up make a copy rather of this. Open up my terminal. Oops. And then I can just start going through. We don't need site.google.com, right? You can do this in whatever text editor you want. I just pulled up VI because that was right there in my terminal. And for all you folks out there that know VI better than me, yes, I'm sure I could have done a better job of that to find and replace for the minus sign and things like that, but that's all right. We're not going terrible far into this. Okay, so what we see here is we did some digging into google.com, and we've been pulling out these host names, www, which we would, prepend to google.com, plus.google.com, cloud, etc. Now, if I was doing a penetration test against google.com or some other site, I would use this information here to go take a look at these sites and see if there's anything interesting in them. One thing that you want to make sure that you do are reverse lookups against, DNS lookups against the domains that you enumerate. It's not unusual to find some really interesting looking sites, but then they're hosted by some other party than the IP addresses or network ranges that you have in scope for your penetration tests. So that's a real issue. If we were to go out there and start hacking away at this thing, we would be attacking out of scope systems. And so usually what I do at this point is I say, email or in status call with my point of contact during a penetration test and say, hey, I found this list of interesting sites or this particularly interesting site. However, it's hosted by wherever. It's hosted on AWS, and we didn't talk about testing AWS IP addresses or any assets in the cloud. Should I test that? Should I not? Most of the time what will happen is your security contact will go out, ask around a little bit, make sure that they get approval for it, and they'll tell you either yes or no to go ahead and start doing a testing against that site. Sometimes they get told no, and you just have to make a note of it and move on with your day. You're not going to be able to test that endpoint, right? It is out of scope at that point, and the client has said no. But other times you'll find that security will come back and say, yeah, we didn't know about that site. I got approval for it. It's in scope. Go for it. And you can then move on into this other system, potentially get some interesting information out of it. Just depends on how it's set up and what vulnerabilities may or may not be replaced. So this is a quick, easy little technique that I like to use. Obviously I could spend probably a huge amount of time digging into google.com, which is why I'm stopping now. But usually in a typical organization that you're testing, it doesn't take a whole lot of time before you start running out of domain names, before you start finding things that are kind of interesting. And so as simple as using your browser, doing some quick searches, you pull together a list of sites that you may not have known about already, that your security contact may not have known of, and you may be able to extend your testing scope to get at some new and interesting assets. So with that, enjoy, have a good time with it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks.